It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Geddes Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to The Local Show. It's the 2022 pre-Christmas edition. I'm your host, Tom Soccocio Jr., along with my friend and head elf, Steve Roberts, on The Local Show. We have conversations with local businesses and business owners, CEOs, CFOs, entrepreneurs, civic organizations, nonprofits, business advocates, and other business-friendly organizations. We talk about how they got into business and why they do business right here in Syracuse, New York, where their businesses might be going in the future. That's a biggie. And then you'll hear all about their successes, their challenges, opportunities, marketing, and advertising. We're broadcasting from the Zoe Advertising Studios, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. How you doing there, Steve?
I'm all right for being me.
That's nice. I was trying to figure out how we're going to wrap your snowshoes and your skis this year, because I know you like the winter sports.
Oh my gosh!
I want to see you out there. Huffing and puffing.
Not at all. No. Judy and I, we did when we were younger, which was a long time ago. We did some cross country skiing.
That's very healthy for you.
Yeah, it was exhausting.
Yeah, I know.
And we still will walk. She likes to walk Green Lakes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So
that's
we got
nice.
We got these cleat things you put on your shoes.
Yeah.
Because what happens there is it ices.
Sure.
Right? And you're like, ah. So, and they work well. So we did that a variety of times last year. She always wants to go. I go because she always wants to go.
I think I told you a while ago, it was a fall trip. We went up to Highland Forest and just going through the paths, with, raking the leaves with your feet as you're walking along. Wore me out. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
You walk a couple of miles in the woods.
But then it's cold. And if you have any breathing issues at all, and it's cold, it's just, it becomes interesting.
Walk more.
Yes, thank you, George. George, who's 6'3" and weighs 109 pounds. That was George Powers. Don't introduce him. Let's just.
It really gives me, makes me have great respect for those Little House on the Prairie people. They were really in shape. Although they died when they were 25.
I don't know. Their life expectancy was
in shape.
They were in great shape when they passed away. Well, look, folks, stick around. We've got a great show for you. As a matter of fact, first up, we're going to talk with George Powers, owner of Powers Accounting. Then Keith Liebman's going to be in here. He's the owner of the orchards at Rocking Horse Farm, and then, of course, Rocking Horse Farm in general. Luke Lunkenheimer is the, they had him down as chairman.
How do you not say that name and not smile? What a fun name.
Yeah, get this.
What's your name, Luke Lunkenheimer? How much fun is that?
I am very good friends with Luke's father.
Okay.
Yes, Luke.
Go there. You didn't let me down.
I'm good friends with his father, John Lunkenheimer, and we'll talk all about that when we get him on here. Greg Porchline is an arborist representative at Bartlett Tree Experts, and then Sharif Anil Bey is the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu. Mark Roberts stops by. He's the owner of Staff Leasing, and then Kathy German is the executive director of New Hope Family Services. Jim McCarthy wraps us up. He's the president of Northland Communications, all on The Local Show today. Do stick around. It's going to be a riveting show, starting with George Powers. How are you, George?
I am super great and getting better.
Excellent. So, do you get any of the old feelings back when you sit in the chair since you co-hosted?
Oh, this is fun. This is a ball. Yeah, I did enjoy that, and it's always fun.
How was breakfast?
Oh, breakfast. Yeah, Steve cooked me breakfast.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. I was joking with him last night and said, you got to make me breakfast, and lo and behold, he did.
So he's got some Swedish crepes there, with a little bit of cherry and some things there.
Some sausage, so it was a nice breakfast.
Tom never eats what I cook.
No. Well,
I'm thinking he's scared.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
You said he doesn't. You didn't say he doesn't eat. You said he doesn't eat.
It's true.
Over by the stove, I saw peeking out of the corner a little bottle of X-Lax, and I thought, I know what he's up to. For me, at least.
Too many pranks in the past.
Right. Yeah. I just never trust him. Look, George, why don't you tell people a little bit about who you are and why you started Powers Accounting?
What's our why, huh?
Yeah, that's it, the why.
We started Powers Accounting 26 years ago because I was finding business owners that were asking questions that nobody was answering. And I didn't find that people were communicating clearly enough with the small business owners regarding their business, regarding taxes, regarding how they could do better, reach their goals. So really our mission in our company and what we've come around to is to help our business clients reach their goals, business and professionally.
Gotcha.
We do that through organizational records, profit development, and tax savings. But the common goal is, our common theme is, what is the client's goal and how can we help them reach that?
Very well said. What should businesses be doing relative to tax preparation at this time of year?
This is tax planning season at the high point. Between now and December 31st, there's still a lot of things that you can do to reduce taxes. So you want to make sure that your records are up to date. You've got a good projection of where your income is going to be. And you start figuring, what can you do before the end of the year? Do you want to buy equipment? Do you have bills you need to pay depending on how your taxes are done? Do you want to max out your retirement plan if you've not already done so? You have a variety of different things you can do. So now is the time to be talking to your accountant, to your tax person as to, what can you do? Not everybody, there is no one size fits all tax plan. Everybody's a little different. So if you talk to your neighbor and say, well, my neighbor did this, it might not be good for you,
right?
Because everybody's a little bit different. So make sure that you have a conversation with your tax person. Make sure that they know what your projections are and see what they have to say.
Tom's neighbor put a pool in, didn't they, Tom?
Yes, they did. I don't know if they did that for tax purposes or not.
Yeah.
Now, would this be the time that Steve would buy me the company car, the Mustang GT with the?
Well, if there's a company purpose for it, he can.
Hang on, let me check the manual. Nope, it's not in there, guys.
It may not be there. So these midterm elections that we just had that everybody was going cuckoo over and who got in, who got out, all that, does it have any positive impact on taxes here in our state?
We don't know.
Yeah, taxes positively go up.
Taxes in the state, you're right about that. Nothing's ever good about taxes in this state. But as far as the national election, we don't know. Probably nothing will change because we're going to have a Republican House, a split Senate, and a Democratic president. Odds are nothing in the tax rules will change for 2 years, which is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
The current tax laws do sunset, or a lot of them will sunset in 2025. So we'll see if something will change before that point in time. But there's a lot of talk about a lot of things, but I learned a long time ago, never pay attention too much to the talk. Wait until it comes out with a signed by the president. At that point in time, then you know what you got.
Yeah.
Up until that point, you have really just a wild guess.
So can people write off Christmas gifts, George? That's what they're thinking right now. Let's ask that guy if we can write off our Christmas gifts.
Well, if you give your employees nice cash bonuses at the end of the year through payroll, you can write that off.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Let's change the topic quickly.
Well, there you go. It's a win-win, Steve.
That's right.
It all works out. What type of businesses do you see thriving over the next 5 to 10 years?
Oh, there's a tough one. I do think that we may be in 2023. I kind of think we might be ending some kind of recession. I know technically we're in one now, but they're all a bit unique. I was going to say this is unique. Yeah. They're all unique. We're seeing the prices maybe starting to re-regulate and come down a little bit. So that's looking better. Looks like the next Fed interest increase may not be quite as high as what they had initially projected. So there's a number of things that are looking better, but I do think that we still have some problems with Europe coming through that are going to affect us. And so I think next year is going to be a bit of a challenge. Get my crystal ball out, polish it up and see if it works. But,
are there some businesses, because you work with so many businesses, that you see that may thrive, coming up here in the future?
Well, I'm seeing professional services thrive a lot.
Okay.
I'm seeing contractors still have a great need. There's a shortage of skilled tradesmen in that industry, but I'm seeing a lot of professionals that are really doing a lot. Well, psychiatrists certainly are doing amazingly well these days. But I'm seeing it's just kind of spotty.
Yeah.
The retail stores are tough because they have a tough road to hoe these days. It's tough there.
Sure.
And if you're going to do that, and that restaurant, you have to be new and different. You can't use the same model.
That cuts us out, Tom. We're not new or different.
Got to be unique. All right. George, you're a wealth of knowledge. Love having you around, and feel free to come back and co-host anytime.
Hey, we'll just kick Steve out. No, thinking that he does look a little like that elf character on that movie.
Doesn't he, though? Very close.
Here we go. Go ahead, Santa.
That's George Powers, right there, owner of Powers Accounting, gpowers.com, gpowers.com. Have a great rest of the day, okay?
Thanks, guys.
Coming up, it's Keith Liebman. He's the owner of the Orchards at Rocking Horse Farm over there in Apulia Station. So Jamesville, I guess you would call it, is up next right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back into it, back at it again. You've got The Local Show with Tom and Steve in full-on holiday mode, believe it or not. I think a lot of people are, and they got their what do you call those things? Decorations. That's the word I was looking for. So everybody's got their decorations out.
I had a real stealthy move when it came to that this year, Tom.
What'd you do?
So we went and cut the tree down, which we do the day after.
Oh, you did?
Day after
Well, I didn't know you
Thanksgiving.
did a live
but
tree.
it was raining really hard.
Yeah.
So the farm we go to, first I tried to talk my wife out of it.
Right.
I said, that didn't fly.
Yeah.
She's like, no,
She wanted to
we
do
need
it
to.
anyway.
I said,
Good
okay.
for her.
So I tried. So then, but I did negotiate that we would buy a cut tree instead of slopping through the mud.
Oh, yeah, right.
So that was the negotiation.
Or pulling it out by the roots.
Right.
Either
So
way.
we got either way. So we got the tree and brought the tree back, and then I had to do some things, important things.
Cut
so
like
my
a
oldest
branch
son and Judy did everything, right? Because we were going away the next day, and I had to do a bunch of stuff.
Oh, okay.
And so I was gone for 3 hours. Came back and. It was just amazing. The room lit
Oh,
up. Everything was
nice.
decorated. The halls were decked. And, and that was okay with me that I did. It was okay.
You didn't have to do anything.
Yeah, I didn't do a thing.
Oh, very good.
It looks amazing, actually.
We're all very proud that you didn't participate. Very nice. Tell us about Gettys Federal Savings and Loan. They are just, jamming away over there, getting customers to come in and talk with people locally, huh?
Yeah, well, they do participate.
Yes, they do.
Here,
They engage.
They're in the game. So many folks had made the mistakes over the years of trying to hook up with some online borrower, lender, depositor, something far away.
Right.
And then you go to talk to someone and crickets, or you call and dial 1 for this, dial 2 for this, dial 3 for this, okay. Who wants to do that? Over at Gettys, that's not how it works. That's not how it works at all. So if maybe two things, really. People still buying houses. I had someone ask me this week about Gettys.
Yeah.
They said, "Are they?" I said, "They really are the real deal. They the way that they do it." Someone asked me this week, so maybe that or a refinance or probably not as much a refinance, but a home equity loan.
Sure.
Get that pool your neighbor has, Tom.
Yeah, I'd
that
like
would
to.
be the way to do it. You borrow off the house. But a lot of people are taking money and putting it into CDs and money markets because the market's so creepy.
Yeah.
And they got good rates on that too. But deal with the local folks. Get it at Gettys.com. Tom?
There we go. All right. Well, it's our pleasure right now to bring on two guests that you can see on YouTube. You can follow us on our YouTube channel. It's Zoe Advertising, Zoey Advertising. Look us up on YouTube. Follow us, like us, and then you'll get all the alerts
Like
when we.
me, Tom.
Yes, like you.
Yeah,
okay,
like-
yes, just like Steve
Yeah.
somehow. You can do that. We're going to talk with Keith Liebman right now. He's the owner of Orchards at Rocking Horse Farm and the Rocking Horse Farm, and he's here with his wife, Julie. How are you both?
We're great.
Wonderful.
Excellent. It's good to see you both. Real salt of the earth people. I'm going to have you guys talk for a little bit. Either one of you can take the question, and that is, how did you start? What was your background, and what made you start the Rocking Horse Farm?
Well, I have a background in horticulture and have been doing landscaping for about 35 years, so it's just something that I always wanted to get into, growing Christmas trees and having an orchard, and then the orchard's wedding barn came into being.
I didn't know you had the Christmas trees.
Yeah.
I might have been tempted to get a live tree had I had known that. See, there's something everyone should know. Can people still come and get Christmas trees?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. We
All
have
right.
pre-cut and you-cut trees.
All right.
Well, where are you? Because people may not know where you are.
Yeah.
Well, we're just south of Janesville, 2.8 miles south of the village. On the left-hand side, you can't miss us. There's a lot of Christmas trees out there. There's the large wedding barn. We also have a pick-your-own organic apple orchard. But Julie and I talked on the way here, and we decided if anyone mentions Zoe, when they come to get a Christmas tree, they'll get $10 off.
Oh, that's nice.
Great. So Zoe, maybe in the local show. Is that okay?
the local
Yes,
show.
mention the local
Because
show
like,
or
what's
Zoe.
that? The Zoe, so
Right.
that'd be great.
Yeah, the local show. I'm going to have you bring that mic just over a little more towards Steve. There you go. So that when you talk, when you... Not a lot of people like to talk with Steve, so, it's hard.
It's true. It happens.
So that's really cool. And then what did you do before you started the farm?
I had a commercial, industrial, electrical contracting company.
Okay.
And when the economy changed, things... it became all about the money and not so much about the quality of work or the coordination with other trades. And my daughter called me one day and said, Dad, I'm getting married. And I said, you're going to get married on the farm, right? She said, Dad, I live in Boston. Why would I come to Syracuse to get married?
Yeah.
And she started giving us prices for wedding venues in Boston. And I said, honey, before we plunk down that much money just to rent a barn, I'd build a barn. So let's not go that way. I hang up the phone, I look at Julie, and Julie looks at me and says, no, we're not building a barn. We built enough here on the farm.
So how'd that end?
Well,
Not very good for me, but great for me. It's been wonderful, actually.
so that came to fruition. And after about a year of operating, I was able to close my other business. And I should have done the wedding business 20 years ago because we're having so much fun. We love taking care of people. We love organizing parties, and it's a great fit for us. We're doing very well, having a good time.
It is a beautiful venue. We went and picked apples there one year, and Julie showed us all around, told us what trees to go to for the style of apples that we like and the flavor and all that. So they have beautiful apples, and then the actual property itself, I just can't say enough about. And I think I can speak here from a very knowledgeable standpoint because I've been to like every single barn across this area, and they have by far the cleanest, neatest, nicest looking property. But not only that, they're good people to deal with. I think the trouble with these other places is people say, let's pop up a barn and we'll just make it a venue, and they don't really have the experience in the industry or the customer service skills that it takes. Because let's face it, guys, we deal with a lot of different people in the wedding and party industry, right? There's a lot of different personalities. But you guys know what you're doing and all that. So can people come onto the property? Can they rent the whole property from you for the day for their wedding, like outside and inside?
Well, actually, when they rent the property, something that sets us apart from other venues is we're in about the same price range, but they can come in at 1 p.m. on Friday until 7 p.m. And then they have the barn from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. on Saturday. And during those hours, if they have any guests or friends from out of town that need something to do, they're welcome to come and walk around the property as long as they check in with us and we know who's there. We work hard. We love the property. We just want to share it with people.
People allowed to fish during that time?
We've had a lot of people say they love to. We haven't quite. I think the guys are somewhere else, but they are welcome to come and do that.
I'll have to give that a test ride, Tom.
Well,
just to
we were
prove
supposed
that.
to go.
I know,
we were going to
I
go.
know.
And then we
Butternut
got
Creek
busy.
is a great creek.
I'm aware.
Well, we stock Butternut Creek every 3 or 4 years,
Yep.
and there's plenty of fish there.
Yep, there are.
If you have a license or from out of state,
A lot of brown trout.
buy
down there.
one. That's right. That's right.
Do you guys live on the property?
Yes,
we
we do.
absolutely do.
Oh, that's right. You
It's a
had
long
that,
commute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that beautiful house you got over there. I can't remember because it's been a while. Now I just booked one over there, and I can't remember the name of the couple. Real nice couple though, but we'll be coming up there, next year. Now, through the winter, do you operate during the winter, or
No,
do you
we do
hibernate?
not. No, we do not. My husband wants to, and I say no. I
Well,
like
you
my
said
winters
no
off.
about, wait, you said no about building the barn,
I
too.
put
Just
my
to-
foot down on this.
You put it down before.
I have my
tiny
winters
foot.
off. Skiing is a little important to me, and my time off because.
Oh, look at how in shape she is. You can tell she's out there, working hard. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I love the snow. Not like a lot of people, but I love it.
What do you do with the apple trees during the winter? How do you make sure that, well, first of all, did you have a great harvest this year?
This year was a light year.
Okay.
We came off of last year was a very heavy year.
Okay.
But this year in May, if you can remember back to weather, we had a warm week followed by a cold week, followed by a warm week and cold week. The warm weeks blew out the flowers early that flowered. Then followed by the cold week, the bees were not out. So we had a low pollination.
So the
this
trees
year.
got confused like Tom did.
Right, I
They
get confused.
did. They
The bees
did.
got very confused. They stayed in the hive.
Well, guys, unfortunately, we have to wrap things up. But great talking with you, husband-wife team. They're going at it strong over there at the orchards at Rocking Horse Farm and the Rocking Horse Farm. You can get there as a venue. It's wonderful to go pick apples. It's excellent, and then of course get your Christmas trees
And mention
over there.
Zoe, Tom. You
And-
get Zoe and the local show
The
get
local
$10
show.
off. So
And get
that,
$10
that works.
off.
Enjoy
Yeah.
it, yeah.
All right. So watch this video too, folks, and you can get more information. Thank you guys so much for coming in, and we'll
Thanks
see
for
you real
having us.
soon.
Oh, you're
okay?
welcome. Thanks for inviting us. We appreciate it.
You got it. Luke Lunkenheimer is coming up next. He's they're calling him the chairman. I guess he's the president and the owner of CNY Drives. And he's coming up next on the local show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Back into it and back at it again. If you're here, that means we are too, right here on 570 WSYR, 106.9 FM, and we are on YouTube as well. Look up Zoe Advertising, and you can see clips of the show. And if you smash the like button, as well as follow us, then anytime any content's released, you will get notified and be able to take advantage of that.
And there's other fun stuff on that channel too. There's some drone stuff. There's other
Yeah,
projects
yeah.
that we've done. But Zoe Advertising, the local show, and you have to see
Sure.
behind the curtain, Tom.
That's right. Steve, right now we have a new person on the show, so be on your best behavior or he'll clock you one. He's Luke Lunkenheimer, and he owns CNY Drives. How are you there, Luke?
I am swell, guys. Very glad to be
Tom,
here.
Luke, doesn't that sound like it'd be a character on like a Christmas show?
Yes,
It's
it was
Luke.
like-
That's a fun name. What
Luke
a fun name
Lunkenheimer.
that is.
Most people think sounds more like Legos falling downstairs.
Yeah, well, that too.
No, it makes you smile. I think that's I love the name.
And some people, would hear the name Lunkenheimer and they go, I've never heard that before, but I have. Because I happen to be friends with his father.
There you go.
And,
Small world. How'd that happen?
Well, his father used to work at Puro Brothers, not the funeral home, of course, the car dealership. And he sold me
Depending
cars.
on who you ask.
Right. He sold me cars way back when. And you know what? The best thing about John Lunkenheimer is that he's not a car salesman. He just, he's very, very experienced, but he doesn't act that way, and he just helped me with my first cars when I first got married, and I must have bought 10 cars from him.
Wow.
Anywhere he went, I would follow John around. And then even my uncle bought cars from him.
It says a lot for,
Yeah. Great guy. So I imagine Luke is not too far cut from the tree, but tell us your background personally, because you are an individual. So
So I've got a colorful story, to say the least.
go ahead.
I'm a guy that was from a small town, Cato, New York, kind of a little bit of big frog, small pond syndrome, captain of the football team, was unaware of how large the world was. So I had a scholarship to play some D2 ball, nothing crazy, but to have school paid for. I sustained an injury, and then my academic scholarship mysteriously went away. It was kind of down in the dumps, obviously down on myself. So I decided to take a year off and go work and do nothing other than sell cars. It was familiar to me, of course, because Dad being in the business. And very, very long story short, I chose to get the surgery done on my shoulder to hope to possibly pursue a football career. Surgery didn't go well. Wasn't able to throw the ball 50 yards in the air anymore, so got real down on myself. And they introduced something to me at that time that I was unfamiliar with and didn't know that I would very soon grow an affinity for, and that was opiate pain medication.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Classic tale. You hear of an athlete that gets an injury and gets hooked on painkillers. So I went down a very dark road for about 10 years. If you would ask, and luckily there's not many of these people left that don't know me in the later portion of my life that only knew me back then.
Right.
But if you were to find one, they would tell you a tale of a guy that was less than savory and had a bad drug problem and was about 185 pounds soaking wet. So,
Wow.
went to kind of the real dark depths of it one day, got in my head and decided to rob a bank. in Syracuse.
Oh my goodness! Wow.
And it was one of those things. I think subconsciously I knew that there wasn't a lot for me. Right. You know what I mean? I had burned a lot of bridges, and just was not in a good place. So I think my subconscious mind thought, okay, I'm going to rob this bank. If I get away with it, I'm going to have a big stack of cash and have a couple fun weeks. Maybe go to rehab, try to fix this. Or I will have that control taken from me. And that's what happened, of course. When you're high on drugs and not in your best mental state, you don't really think the bank robbery through and execute well. So the old boy,
it's not like a nice movie.
No,
it's not like a funny movie.
It wasn't like Ocean's 13 with Neil Funkenheim. No, it was kind of a trip over the velvet rope and wipe the snot from your nose as you're running out the door. So the old boys in blue did their job very well, caught up with me about 6-7 days later, and off to the Huskow I went. But prison is looked upon as a very negative thing. For me, albeit I did not enjoy the experience and I would certainly not desire to go back, I'm very glad that it was a place I had to go. I learned a lot of lessons about my fellow man. I learned a lot of lessons of culture, and really learned a lot about myself. You have nothing but time when you're in there. Yeah, sure. So, you mentioned my stature early on when we started the show. I am a big guy. I'm 275 now, 6'4", graduated high school about 75 pounds less than that. So I was productive in prison. I lifted a lot of weights, read a lot of books, and just kind of chose to use my time wisely. Got out the other side. And got back into kind of a 9-to-5 grind. Right. Was actually let go from a job because they found out about my criminal history, which I disclosed on the app, but didn't really get into the colorful part of the bank robbery and stuff. Sure. Anyways, so that didn't go well. Went to work for a guy, kind of partnered selling cars with him, ended up getting robbed by him. Was reacquainted with the behaviors of an addict at that point. And then somebody reached out to me, an old boss, and he gave me an opportunity at a job that I had before. I excelled at and did well. And one day he came to me, and this is just a testament to if you do the right thing, the ripples come back your way. He says, Luke, I know you're passionate about the car business. I know eventually you're going to do something in it, and I know you have the ability to manage business. I've seen you. Right. I'd like to offer to stake you in opening a car dealership. So it's the last thing that you would expect with a history like mine. But, fast forward 6 years later, that gave you the opportunity to open CNY Drives. We're opening our 4th store now. We're about 1,000 cars a year strong. And
that's wonderful.
How exciting is that?
God bless you, man.
I love the transparency. That most people think car dealers, most of them belong in prison.
Right.
A lot of them do.
I'm just saying. So that is
kind of did it the opposite way, didn't he? Yeah.
That's amazing, and I'm a fan of redemption. I'm a fan
that
the path you're on
that.
doesn't need to be where you're going to end up.
And that's the thing.
And that's awesome.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. And just one last thing that I will say is, I choose to be transparent about these things because there's one guy out there on the other end of this microphone listening somewhere, or gal who's struggling, and this is not something that people like to brag about, right? No one likes to tell you, I went to prison, I had these friends, I was addicted to drugs, I slept under bridges. But I wear it as a badge of honor because I was able to get better from it, and I was able to come back. And anybody that can catch inspiration from that and get better is absolutely worth me, exposing myself.
And now you turn it around, you take the knowledge and the wisdom and the people that now believe in you and have seen maybe full circle, and you've got 4 car dealers. Where are the car dealerships?
So we've got one right here, West Genesee and Erie Boulevard West, 1335 Erie Boulevard West in Syracuse. That's the original flagship location. We've opened our second location at 1121 County Route 57, kind of right on the Fulton-Phoenix border, right across the street from Wilkins RV. There used to be the Great Outdoors. The third location, I got inspired by hearing some stories from some soldiers who had less than savory experiences with car dealers. So we got some property right outside the main gate of Fort Drum. Yep. Great. We're up at right across from the Evans Mills Walmart up there, and then our newest store is going to be right in the four corners of Fulton, right by the Family Video there.
Just where that is.
That is amazing. So why do people buy cars from you?
People buy cars from us, I believe, because we have a black and white guarantee. There's 60 points through the car that we check. We deal with a little bit lesser expensive automobile. We don't really break the $25,000 threshold. So the kind of the 3 pillars of CNY Drives are guaranteed credit approval. We can get anybody a loan, and we also have low rates for the prime customers as well. And then we have the Carfax certified guarantee. We've partnered with Carfax to offer that guarantee. And then I think the biggest thing is the 60-point quality check. You go to Honda, Toyota, they have their certified pre-owned cars.
Yes.
We use a comparable checklist to go through our $10,000, $15,000 used cars with a fine-tooth comb to make sure things like, sway bar links are good, bushings are tight, nothing's leaking.
And someone buying a $10,000 car doesn't need a $2,500 repair 6 weeks later.
100%.
Because right?
Our goal is to get people through a year of ownership without having to spend any money. And you have no crystal ball. It's not something you can accomplish every time, but we're batting pretty good average right now.
Do you have service available? Do you have a service center?
Yeah, we have. So we have a service center at our Fulton location. We're working to try to scout some properties to grow the company. We've been very blessed with success, so we have the ability to try to expand. Right now, we do offer service out of the Fulton location.
Okay. Do you see used cars becoming, more and more proliferate, rather than brand new cars?
Yeah, so we're in a situation where there's a lot of politics in the marketplace right now.
Yeah.
They're really reeling back on the production of new cars. I think the new car dealerships are reinventing how they do business. So for somebody just looking for a quick smash and grab car purchase, they really are gravitating towards the used car market, and it's very strong for us right now.
Very good. Luke Lunkenheimer right there with an interesting story, and just a stand-up guy right now. And anybody out there who is looking for a car, please go see him. CNY Drives, CNYDrives.com. And thank you so much. We'll have you back again, okay?
Guys, I've been honored. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right, coming up next, we're going to talk with Greg Portzline. Steve, he's an arborist representative at Bartlett Tree Experts. He'll be on the local show next on 570 WSYR and 106.9 FM.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Gettys Federal Savings and Loan and Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Here we come, caroling back into the show. It's The Local Show with Tom and Steve. Thank you for joining us. We're broadcasting from the Zoe Advertising Studio, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Gettys Federal Savings and Loan, in full-on holiday mode, Steve. So how's things going with you?
I got all my shopping done.
Did you really? Yes.
I don't buy anything. Judy does everything, and then we negotiate something. And that's about it. And it's, I don't know, it's married 35 years, it's surprise. It's not really. And, so we might talk. I don't know. Because every year it's like, we're going to cut back. We'll do something together. And then.
Well, you still got to get something for the boys, right?
But she takes care of that. Oh, okay. In a wonderful way. We talk about it, but in a wonderful way. But then it's like, we'll do a vacation instead. But then she still buys me stuff.
Yeah.
It's like it's a trick. So it makes me look bad,
it's hard
Tom.
not to
I don't
do
need any
anything.
help looking bad.
No. But you do need help looking good.
That's true. How about you? Do you wander through the mall with singing a song in your heart?
Well, fortunately, I have two daughters, and my oldest daughter, who's going to be 25 coming up here, she loves to shop. She's like me. She's a shopper. So I can send her out now.
Here's $10, darling. Go shopping for your mom.
She will say to me, Dad, want me to pick up this, and what do you think about that? So that's pretty good. So she helps out, and
that's not fair.
That's all good. Yeah, but we don't like to, it needs to be something from the heart.
Agreed.
And we are very blessed, so I don't need anything. And I tell the kids that I don't need anything. What I want is love and kindness and my family.
I'm
That's
a
all I
fan.
want.
My grandfather used to say, I don't want anything. And I never could understand that as a kid.
Right.
I've become him. I don't want anything.
Yeah. I just want everybody to be healthy, and my friend group to be healthy, and everybody to have fun. So that's that. So Greg Portzline is someone we've had on the show a couple of times. He is an arborist representative at Bartlett Tree Service. And we say hi to him right now. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing well, fellas. How are you?
Very good. Come on right up to that microphone. Don't be shy. Yeah. And I want to ask you what your background is, because I don't know how anybody becomes an arborist.
Sure. So I grew up loving the woods and nature in general. Kind of had my thoughts that I wanted to be a forest ranger, so that directed me to go to school for forestry, which I did at Ranger School in Wanakena, part of ESF, and then finished my bachelor's at ESF. And during that time, I realized I didn't want to be a forest ranger anymore. A little too much, maybe too rural of a job for me. I grew up in suburbia, but I still really like trees and nature, so I like people and trees, so this was the perfect fit. As an arborist, you're focusing on the individual tree or trees on someone's property and helping an individual reach their goals.
What's an arborist?
An arborist is is a field of study that is the care of trees. From more of an individual tree than a forester would look at a whole stand of trees. An arborist would be more the individual tree in either a commercial or residential.
Is it a tree
setting.
doctor?
Absolutely, in a sense. So diagnostics and cradle to grave tree care. So there's obviously specific focuses you can focus on in that, but it is very much like a doctor.
My father says trees are his favorite people. He'd rather talk to a tree. But that's my dad. Anyway, so I have an issue. All right.
Shocking. Wait a minute. Tom has an issue. Is it about your physical health, Tom?
No, not about
issue.
me. Other physical health of my trees.
Oh, okay, just checking.
The health of my trees. So I have a bunch of evergreens around my, that's what they're called, right? The ones, Christmas trees are evergreens?
Yeah, yep. Conifers, evergreens.
Okay.
There's two main types that you're going to have in central New York.
Yes.
It's your spruces and your pines.
Gotcha.
And
so this is a pine. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a pine tree that's in my backyard. And I live right around the corner from you, I just found out. So, I'm up in Cicero. So all of a sudden now, in the fall, I have 4, 5, 6, 7 branches on each of my pine trees that are turning brown.
Yep.
What is going on?
So without looking at the tree, I can give you some, generalities. What we're seeing this year is this summer was extremely hot and dry. So we are seeing some effects of a drought stress on those conifers. Conifers don't have the luxury that deciduous trees do, where they get a whole new bumper crop of leaves every year. They rely on their existing needles.
I gotcha.
And so when they can't sustain certain parts from the drought or other stressors, you will see dieback, and we are seeing a lot of that this year. And
Good. I've never seen it. I've been there 3 years on the property now, and everything's always really green. But 2 or 3 of the branches just went totally brown.
So what does he do now?
What do I do?
Well, so you call someone like myself to come out and give you a much better idea without, kind of.
I was just going to cut them off, and I didn't.
Certainly. Well, that's always an option. What I would recommend is give a certified arborist a call to come out and have a look and give you some.
Now, is that a pay service?
So Bartlett, my company, not my personal company, the company I represent, Bartlett Tree Experts, we are more than happy to come onto a property free consultation to evaluate your trees and
what needs to be done.
Correct.
And all that.
And then we offer all those services that would.
I was thinking that
trees.
I would just get together with you and, trade you a 6-pack and a bowl of tomato bisque soup from Sparrow's.
I wish it was that easy.
Tom will do some voiceovers for you.
But that's interesting. So what do you find around Syracuse? What does most of your work consist of?
So, we tend to deal a lot with maintaining people's trees in terms of pruning, structural maintenance, but a big chunk of our business is dealing with insect and disease issues.
I see.
And soil issues. I'm sure it's been in the news for years. Emerald ash borer has almost completely wiped out every ash tree.
We had 5 trees taken down. Cost us a big buck.
Yep. So we do a lot of treatments for those to keep those trees alive. At this point, unfortunately, if you haven't done anything, it's likely too late.
Yeah, right.
But in the northern extremes of Oswego County and stuff, we're still okay. A lot of fungal diseases on conifers and things like that. And also, we had some outbreaks of, they changed the name to spongy moth, used to be gypsy moth.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so that was pocketed.
Got any good news here?
Well,
unfortunately, with trees, about every 10 years or so, a new invasive species comes over and just wreaks havoc. So, and I'm sure you guys have heard in the news, spotted lanternfly is on its way up.
I've heard of that.
Yeah. So, all these things as arborists, we try to keep up on. We work closely with Cornell Cooperative Extension in the state to track these things and report them when we find them. good news is, yes, we can do a lot to save trees and help.
That's what I was going to ask you. Like, once you get that the fungus among us growing on the trees and branches dying and things like that, can you bring a tree back to life? Can you get people's property?
Yes,
back in
absolutely. There's obviously a threshold there. Sometimes trees are too far gone.
Yeah.
And it all depends, too, on how the homeowner or property owner places value on that tree. Yeah. There's a lot of times I would say, oh, this tree's, you should save this tree. But they're like, I don't care about this tree.
Oh, wow.
So if that's the case, then obviously removal is a good choice. But yes, we can. We have a lot of tools in our toolbox to.
And you were a big organization.
We are, yeah.
Bartlett
Tree Experts has been around since 1907.
Oh, wow.
We have over 150 offices in America. We're also in England, Ireland, and Canada.
Very nice.
With a very large research arboretum down in South Carolina that we have. I think we're up to around 15 different PhDs that work down there and do research and development.
Wow.
Yeah.
So these aren't the guys that just go in and say, yeah, we'll take that tree down.
Right. No.
Because there's some of those guys, but you guys are on the tree doctor thing is kind of funny, but that's really what you are.
Mm-hmm.
So people can see you online at Bartlett.com.
Correct.
Just Bartlett app. BARTLETT.com. Bartlett Tree. So, Greg, thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. And, that beer's waiting for you if you really want to come on over. Casual. We don't even have to talk about the company or anything. You just come on over.
Okay.
All right. Branch out a little, would you?
Yep.
All right. Kicking off hour number 2 of the local show, we'll have a conversation with Sharif Anil Bey, who is the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu. Mark Roberts stops by, owner of Staff Leasing and PEO, and Kathy German, the executive director of New Hope Family Services, and Jim McCarthy rounds us out. He's the president of Northland Communications. Stick around. Hour number 2 coming right up.
It's The Local Show on News Radio 570 WSYR, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in. This is hour number 2 of the local show. Get ready for engaging interviews with Sharif Anil Bey, who is the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu. Mark Roberts stops by. He's the owner of Syracuse, or not Syracuse, it's Staff Leasing, right?
Yes, it is in Syracuse.
It is. I thought it was Syracuse Staff Leasing.
No, it's Staff Leasing.
Staff
Here in
Leasing.
Syracuse. That's okay.
I don't know why. It just like something reckoned back,
Yeah, maybe it was.
I don't know. Kathy German is the executive director of New Hope Family Services, and then Jim McCarthy is the president of Northland Communications, all on this half of the local show. Thank you for sticking around this long, and if you're new to the show this hour, welcome back, or welcome in. Yeah, something.
Whatever
like
it
that.
is, Tom.
Anyway.
Tom, tell them about the cups. Tell them about YouTube.
Yeah,
Tom.
so you got a broken mug.
Okay, well, if you're watching
Are you
on
going to give
YouTube,
away a broken mug?
that we have a Zoe mug that we're giving away one of these every week, Tom.
Right.
Someone to subscribe on YouTube, hit the button, hit the thing, and
are you giving it away in pieces?
Yeah, well, there was a problem
Everybody
earlier.
gets a piece.
These break easily. Normally, I'm very careful and very graceful.
Yeah, no,
but
not at all.
but so you won't get this one unless you really want it, and then of course you can have it. But like and smash and subscribe and all those things. So Zoe Advertising YouTube, we're building an audience. Please do it, and you'll be able to see what's going on.
Yeah, you can win a mug. I like the idea of breaking the mugs and then just giving out little pieces to people. Then they can have them like as collectors.
I think
and when you make a full mug, you win something else. I don't know. Anyway, we're broadcasting from the Zoe Advertising Studio, sponsored by Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. It's our pleasure to bring back our guest, Sharif Anil Bey, who is the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu. Hey, what's kicking?
How's everybody? How you guys?
I want to know what it's like to have 3 names and you have to tell everybody how to pronounce all 3 of them.
Oh my goodness, I get it all the time. The worst part is mail. Oh my God. Or ordering things over the phone.
Right.
Sharif becomes Charisse.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
They don't know. But look, tell us your story, man. How did you get into this business?
Well, wow. It's the martial arts in general was something that kind of chose me. I've been doing it. I'm a lifelong martial artist. I've been doing it since age 5 officially. And to be totally honest, man, it was like, wow, I need some bodies to thump on and to stay in shape. So, what's better than beating up on people and slapping people around and getting them to pay you?
Well, Eric, I need to sign Tom. Tom up. This is a contract. I'm going to pay for Tom.
I'm Italian, so that's how I grew up.
That's how you grew up.
And that was just from my mom.
Right, the backhand and the chancleta, right?
We'll get Tom a white belt, and he's all yours.
Good golly. Yeah, so you've been doing, so you're kind of a student of all the martial arts before you got, concentrating on Kung Fu?
Well, I've done a couple, and I started with Taekwondo, which is Korean, right? Yeah. My father started me at age 5 with Taekwondo, and then moved into training in a number of the Kung Fu styles. So Kung Fu is not really a style. No? It's a slang word that denotes the hundreds of different styles that come from China.
Wow.
So there's many. Tai Chi is a Kung Fu style. Wing Chun is a Kung Fu style. So there's so many. And so I fell into the styles that originate out of the south of China, where it's more close range fighting. The kicks are lower, abundance of hand techniques.
What people want to know more than anything is, where was everybody kung fu fighting? And were those cats fast as lightning? That's what's going through people's heads right now. What?
Absolutely, they definitely were. When I came up, coming up through the Bruce Lee era and the Kung Fu theater era, in my old neighborhood, there were karate schools like almost on every block. And then when the Bruce Lee craze and the Kung Fu thing became big, they all changed their sign from karate to Kung Fu. That's what happened. So everybody was, in a sense, Kung Fu fighting. They were.
And what was the show with Carradine there?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu. That was the name of it, right?
Yes, that was the name of the show.
Take the pebble from my hand.
Right.
Yeah. So is your studio just like that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tell us about your studio.
So, real traditional Chinese martial arts schools, the way that, especially in the old days they were run, they looked a lot like boxing gyms. Where you've got people working on different things. It wasn't like so much what you see today, where everybody's regimented and doing the same thing at the same time.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of thing occurs, but it was really like a boxing gym. Somebody's working on this skill, somebody's working on that skill. The instructor's walking around kind of like coaching, as he does. That's kind of what it's like. It's really like, in a many respects, it's like a semi-functional adopted family.
I get you.
I promise you, it really, really is.
That makes sense. So tell us about our friend Brad, who works here at Zoe. So tell us about Brad. I want to know everything. Tell us. Bring it on.
Man. Well, Brad walks in. When I was in my previous location, I was right in the middle of downtown on Warren Street. Brad walks in. He's got this big grin on his face. He's like, I'd like to try
We call it the big stupid grin. But
big stupid grin. You guys said it. I didn't say it. There we go. So he walks in with the big grin, and he's like, hey, I'd like to try this out. Okay, cool. No problem. He tries one class, and he's hooked. He drunk the Kool-Aid. He's like, I'm going to. Now, here's the funny part. He goes, I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing this. I'm dedicating my life to this. I'm going to I've heard that so many times from people. I just go, okay.
And then he didn't show up for 6 months.
No. He actually came back. And, so I'm happy to say that he's so far making good on that statement.
Did you thump on him?
Absolutely. Are you kidding?
Well, what Brad tells me that he likes the most is this holistic approach that you have.
Absolutely.
That it's mind, body, spirit, everything. It's not just the physical act of Kung Fu, but he's also into the medical part, right?
It's physical philosophy.
Yeah.
It really, really, really is, as opposed to, like you hear in the West a lot of times. And that's because of a disconnect between an Eastern tradition being practiced by Westerners. So they'll sit students down and say, don't do this unless your life depends on it. Now let's stand up and learn things that kill people. As opposed to, you all are good people, yes? Okay. This movement is like a loaded firearm.
Right.
That's it. That's all you have to do. Now, being a good person, you're like, okay, well, do you have a non-lethal option? Can you show me something? There's the philosophy.
Yeah,
You see?
Right, I get you.
That makes.
Yeah, there's the philosophy there.
So where do people start? How do they start?
And let me ask you this,
Sure.
on the heels of that,
Yeah.
do you have to be in great shape?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Wait. Can you look like Tom?
Of course. You figure it like this, right? Like let's take people who run track and field. You've got a sprinter, you've got a long distance runner. Their bodies look totally different because the demands on their bodies are different, even though they're both running.
Right.
So you have different shape for different, so there's athletic shape, then there's martial shape. Martial shape is military shape. It's really more mindset. Yeah, there is physicality involved.
Right.
But you figure the average street fight, if it lasts longer than 15 seconds, neither one of you knew what you were doing. 15 seconds is a long time, and so it relates to that. If you can give 100% for 15 seconds, you're pretty good.
It's a great question, Tom. Seriously. So you got a couple nearly 60-year-old guys here.
Yes.
You could help us?
Absolutely.
Okay, talk briefly about kids. Is this a place for kids?
Absolutely. And so going back to the whole martial mindset, martial means military, and it doesn't mean being a tough guy. Military people aren't your classic tough guys. The classic tough guy is the guy that determines his own self-worth on whether he can beat you or not. Right? The military person or the military mind learns that sacrifice for something bigger or larger than yourself is, that's what they prepare to do. So that's great to teach children, especially because sacrifice is sacrifice, whether it's sacrificing my health or my life for something I believe in or my family or my loved ones, or sacrificing an hour on the Xbox for homework. It's still sacrifice.
Right.
And if they can learn that at a young age, they're going to go so much further than this.
What's the Bible say? No greater love than this is someone that lays their life down for their friends. Right? And that's the sacrifice that you're
That's
talking about.
Absolutely. And you touched on something powerful there. That is why martial arts taught properly is or leads to a spiritual path.
Excellent.
To be a true warrior, you have to see beyond your own mortality.
Awesome.
Nice. You can get more of that, folks, from Sharif Anil Bey, who's the owner of Syracuse Kung Fu, and 395-3814. 395-3814 is the number to call if you want to get involved. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the day.
Thank you guys so much.
All right. Mark Roberts is coming up next, owner of Staff Leasing PEO, right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR. Stick around.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
Welcome back and welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. You're listening to The Local Show with Tom and Steve. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend, and at least we don't have 20 feet of snow. I was talking to some support people because I have this brand new, computer, because I thought, let's spare no expense. I don't want the tools to get in my way of being creative. So, I spent like $5,000 on this dang thing, and it's been in the shop 110 times.
Oh my gosh.
It's, well, it's supposed to be high end, and, I'm picky. I don't know. But I've had to have it in and out. But so when I'm talking to all these support people, they're like in Oklahoma or down in Florida.
They're in this country?
They're in the war. Yeah, I'm actually talking to stateside people.
Okay, that's not great.
But it was just interesting about the weather and the differences in weather and what people conceive as being cold and all that stuff.
Right, when we were away, we're like, where are you from? We're from New York. Oh, New York. And they think New York City.
Yeah,
nobody thinks New York is New York City. And
Right.
you try to explain, no, we got 128 inches of snow. they don't. So.
Yeah, lots of. But hey, we've been spared. Compared to
Let's
Buffalo.
be spared. I'm fine. Spare
Right,
away.
Absolutely. So tell me a little bit about, people are looking for Christmas gifts right now, and pictures are on everybody's mind. And we had the gal from Michelle, right?
Yeah,
from
Michelle.
Industrial Color Labs. Wonderful services that they have. And I think people, since they're not developing film as much anymore, you forget about them, right?
Yeah, remember years ago it was like Industrial Color Labs. Remember the jingle? You hear it all the time.
Sure.
And now people have, and then their head.
Hank Vomar was on the big
Oh my gosh!
billboard. Yeah,
and all the women had big hair.
Yeah.
And I had hair. But they are doing their thing.
Yeah.
And we were just chatting that, photos make amazing gifts.
Yeah, they do.
But they're out at Linden Corners, and they're downtown across from what used to be DeJulio's Army Navy store, right?
Mm-hmm. Burnett Ave.
Shoot, they're still archiving, the old videos, and maybe you got VHS tapes or
8mm,
whatever they are, or the old ones. They're doing those things. But what an amazing place for a gift. I mean, think about it. You get a piece of clothing, you get something, and then you get a picture or a nice photo in a frame. You know, how wonderful is that? Or
And
maybe your phone's loaded with photos and you want them off of there.
Right.
They do all that stuff and people just forget about them.
And they can do that photo retouching too. So like
Absolutely.
if you have old, physical picture, they can get it into Photoshop, do it all professionally.
Absolutely.
And make it look good.
But don't forget them. They're out there at Linden Corners, and then they're downtown 449-1155. Maybe you have questions. 449. Did I say that first name? 449-1155. And go see our friends at Industrial.
Okay, you got it. Right now, it's our pleasure to bring back an old friend of the show. It's Mark Roberts, owner of Staff Leasing PEO. How are you there?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me back.
Good to have you, cousin.
Good to be back, cuz.
No matter where I go, if I mention your name, everybody rolls their eyes. But they in a good way, in an endearing way. Hey, do you know Mark Roberts? Oh, yeah.
I've been around for a few years.
Absolutely. But I feel like a bigwig when I mention your name because, you rub shoulders with a lot of people. Tell us your background. How'd you get into this business?
Oh, well, I worked at WTVH way back when, and then from there was involved with an ad agency with my brother, similar to what you guys are doing, for a number of years. And my father had started Staff Leasing down in Florida, and we were handling the advertising and marketing for them down there. And after seeing their growth, they started in '84. And after seeing their growth, I sat and chatted with my father and his partners about us opening up here.
Right.
So my partner, Tom Boyle, and I, looked at it. And in 1989, so 34 years ago, we opened up, and they were our back room for the first year and a half. And then we took everything over up here and started with a phone, with a desk with a phone with call waiting, and an electric typewriter with one line of memory. Back when the fax machines were the thermal paper that if you kept them for more than 30 days, they disappear.
So tell us what staff leasing is and what staff leasing is not, in case there's any confusion.
Yes, and I hear that from Steve all the time, the confusion with the name. But, after 34 years of doing this, our name is pretty well known out there. But what we are not a temp service. We are not a placement agency. What we are is what's referred to as a PEO, a professional employer organization, that we go into businesses with anywhere from 1 to 200 employees and co-employ the staff so that they're working for us and for our clients. And by taking and grouping all of these different businesses and employees together, that's giving us the collective buying power to put together a Fortune 500 benefit package, to handle all the payroll and all the HR with handbooks and making sure they have the right posters. And so we're their offsite human resource department that allows them to focus and concentrate on their business and giving us the opportunity to take care of all the other stuff. How was that for a brief
That wasn't bad.
That was awesome.
I practiced it a couple of times.
Yeah, very, very eloquently said. Now, I would imagine that with all the changes in government and things, different people get into power, and so different rules come down. So that makes it hard for a small business to navigate. Wouldn't they be better off with somebody like you?
Absolutely. Well, I would think so.
Yeah, I'm just thinking logic.
But
right?
It's amazing when, as I was saying, 34 years ago when we started, when we were marketing this and talking to people, it was payroll comp benefits. And the term HR, which back then was probably the personnel department,
right,
but the term HR, human resources, was not even coming into play very much. Mm-hmm. But over the number of years that we've been doing it, the rules and regulations, as you were just saying, and different government things getting in power. I mean, now you've got the sexual harassment training that everybody in New York State has to do once a year.
Oh, really?
And update that, and then making sure the posters are changed right. And just when COVID hit and all the rules and regulations, it's amazing. And that's one of the things that we,
Yeah.
You know, I may not know how to fix a car, but we certainly know how to make sure that the employees are being properly handled.
Yeah, and
the
that way
payroll is done too. So.
Keeps you out of trouble as a business owner, so they're better off with you. Do you think we'll ever get back to the days where you could, walk into somebody's office and they would have a scotch and a cigar in the ashtray?
It depends on where you are.
Because I like those days. I don't know.
I remember those days myself. You know, when I was at the television station, there was probably days like that
And more.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a while ago. But you know, one of the things, I mean, with us being able to have the collective buying power is the benefits. I mean, we've got 4 different health plans: 2 dental, life, vision, EAP, Aflac benefits, Liberty Mutual, payroll deducted, homeowner and auto insurance.
Geez, Steve, we ought to be doing business with him. Come on, that sounds good.
Tom is
as well as the 401k plans all included in that. And this was the first year in 3 that we had an increase in our medical benefits. So because of our growth and what we've been able to offer, and we're still quite a bit lower than any of the community rates that are out there, substantially.
How many people do you employ?
We've got about 20 internal employees.
Do you look for employees? Are you in need at this time or not?
You know, we're always looking to enhance certain areas. Salespeople is always something that's really good. Also, client service is one of the things that we're expanding on too. So
what's the number one reason people bring you on to do all those things versus doing it themselves, or maybe they use a payroll company or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, payroll companies are good. They do a certain portion of it, but it's the rest of the stuff. It's, as we were saying, you know, combining everything and having a single source that they can go to that's going to be their benefits manager, their workers' comp manager, their human resource manager, their payroll manager. So instead of having a number of different sources that they're going to all over the place, this is a single source that they can go to and have everything properly handled.
Really, really quickly, Mark, is there a business that's too small for your services, and is there a business that's too big? Where's the sweet spot?
You know, it depends. I mean, the small ones, I mean, we've got clients with 2 or 3 employees. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
And then we've got clients with over 200 employees. So it's a wide range, and it really depends upon their needs.
Okay, that's great. Well, that's Mark Roberts right there, still very active in his business, and I love your demeanor, and people can. You're probably very approachable. You'll talk to people personally, yeah?
I do all the time.
All right,
He never shuts up. You kidding?
It's getting him to be quiet. That's the trick, right? Owner of Staff Leasing PEO. Thank you so much, and you have a great rest of the day.
Thanks so much.
All right. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Kathy German. She is the Executive Director of New Hope Family Services right here on The Local Show on 570 WSYR.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
We're back at it again, and that means you are too. Happy holidays. We can finally say that. It's kind of weird, isn't it, though? It seemed to sneak up on us.
I know. I was busting on you when, on August 10th, you were like, the early winter edition. But, it's here. It is. Yeah.
And I think that, at least this is what I feel, and I don't have any scientific proof of this, but I think that people are so tired of the conversations of politics and, the lockdowns and the thises and the that's.
I am.
That they're jonesing for, the holidays and family values and, being back with people that they can smile and laugh with.
No, everybody.
So they jumped right into it.
No, even mean people get a little nicer, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Even Scrooge, had his day.
Right? But I don't, I would rather get a root canal than go to the mall.
Yeah, I know you do. Yeah.
But that being said, you walk through the mall and they're playing, Christmas music.
It's kind of nice to see the hustle and bustle going on.
I'll hear, maybe there's a group that do like Handel's Messiah. Right. I'm like, wow, this is
How was
so
New
cool.
York? Was New York bustling when you went down there?
Bustling. It was. Yeah. It definitely, your blood pressure goes up a little because everything's a little too much in a hurry.
Well, yeah, of course.
Next time, I don't want to drive in the city. I drove in the city. And it's just the driving. It takes forever to get anywhere.
Did you take the train in?
No, it was full. I would have.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it didn't work. So, but we had a great time.
Right. Kathy Hochul says there's no crime there, so you should be safe. You should have felt great.
No, it was it was actually fine. There was non-events. We walked through Times Square and did our thing and stuff and enjoyed it. And Judy and I had a great time.
Excellent. Well, we have a new person on the show right now. Her name is Kathy. And am I saying your last name right? It's German?
Yes.
Like German, only with a J. Okay. I didn't know that was like Germaine or something,
well, you can
fancy.
make it fancy, sure.
She's the executive director of New Hope Family Services. You can see them online at newhopefamilyservices.com. Newhopefamilyservices.com if you want to follow along and all that. What is your background? How did you get into this world?
Sure. Well, I have 4 kids and I was a stay-at-home mom the whole time. And so I don't know if you've heard of MOPS International, but it's Mothers of Preschoolers, and I was involved in that when my kids were little. And somehow or another, a friend and I ended up starting a teen MOPS group, which is like a support group for teen moms. Sure. And one of the other leaders at the time, she worked at New Hope, and she was like, you should come in, you should like become one of our volunteer client advocates. And she's like, take the training, whatever. And I put it off. And then I finally did. And I had started the training, and then the director at the time, Martha Robb, asked me if I would interview for a receptionist position. So I started as a part-time receptionist, then a full-time receptionist, and then I became the director of client services. And then Martha Robb, ended up passing away from ovarian cancer.
Oh, that's terrible.
Very soon after she was diagnosed. So we went through a whole transition period, and our previous director stepped back in, and after she passed away, the board and Judy, went on a search for a new director, and then they decided that it was me somehow or another. And, after praying a lot about it and arguing with God about why it wasn't me, I interviewed and they appointed me, and so I became the director in February of 2019.
Wow.
Gotcha. Are you from Syracuse originally?
Yeah, grew up in Elbridge.
Elbridge, okay. Oh, that's not Syracuse. That's an appendage. No.
Most people have never heard of it.
I call that on the way to Auburn.
Yeah,
yes.
It's
exactly.
It's funny. My wife's a realtor, and we were driving through Elbridge. She had to show a couple of houses out that way, and I said, if I had a chance to do it over again, I'd probably live out in Elbridge. I actually said that. I really like it.
It's a cute little town. My parents still live there.
Yeah, it's very nice. And like Steve says, you're on your way to Auburn,
right?
And you can go backwards to Syracuse, right. So you're kind of right in the middle of everything. And anyway, so what is New Hope, and what can people find when they go there?
Sure. Well, New Hope is a pregnancy resource center, and we're also an adoption agency. We've been around for a long time. The adoption agency started in 1965, so we're a New York State certified adoption agency. We do domestic infant adoptions, and then we're a pregnancy resource center, and that's been around since 1986. So basically, all of our services are free and confidential. So we offer free pregnancy tests, free ultrasounds, free supplies for babies. So if they need diapers and formula, baby clothes, strollers, car seats, we have all of that for them. Everything is donated. We also offer parenting classes. We offer post-abortion counseling, also infant loss and miscarriage counseling. We just started a fatherhood program this year, which has been really successful and really great to be able to have these volunteer male client advocates that come alongside these dads and mentor them. And it's been really, really great, and it's really neat to see that. And then we just got a new mobile ultrasound van. We just launched that in July. Yep.
Anybody watching on the YouTube stream
can see what it looks like.
Okay, yeah.
And if you go to our website, you can see it as well. But actually, what it does is it just allows us to expand our services in the community, and we can go out and we've gone to different food pantries and different churches. We're still trying to, since it's so new, we're still trying to, get on college campuses and do that. But to be able to meet women right where they're at and be able to offer a free pregnancy test and an ultrasound, because once she sees that ultrasound, chances are she's going to choose life. And on that van, it's state of the art. There's surround sound. There's a huge TV.
Oh, nice.
So when they hear that heartbeat, it is unbelievable.
Do you know that I personally have an experience with New Hope?
I do.
Yes. So our youngest son
was
we adopted through New Hope.
That is awesome.
Our 22-year-old serving proudly in the Air Force in Idaho.
That is amazing.
So you went to 2 different places for your adoptions?
Yes. First was through a different organization. Yep. And
interesting.
So this was so that was
wonderful.
Nate. That was Nate.
That's great. I had a Nate too.
And who was your counselor at the time that helped you? Who was your advocate?
That's a trick question. There were people. There were different
Lots
people.
of people.
Okay. Because
Judy,
I have some information.
Judy was there.
Yeah, Judy was there.
Larry Taylor probably wasn't there then.
Was there a gal named Linda there?
Yes.
Linda Goddard?
Linda Goddard?
Linda Goddard. She was there.
Greg Angwin's sister.
No way.
Swear.
Small
yeah,
world.
and that's something. He just told me about it this weekend, and I was going to tell you.
Linda's awesome.
Linda's great. Yeah.
There's so many great people, staff members and volunteers through the years that just have left such a great legacy, and those are perfect examples.
Yeah. So you have some experience there.
Yeah, that's neat. I'm so glad we were part of that journey.
Yeah. No, you were part of that story.
Yeah. Now, do you have any connection with the birth family at all?
We had a little bit with over time. There was some of that. Yes.
Good.
And that was a good thing.
Yeah.
And it was a good thing for my son too.
For sure.
But amazing
that's neat.
story and some great decisions that those folks made. Some courageous decisions.
And hard.
And it was
absolutely. Now let me
awesome.
ask you this: I have a 16-year-old, 21-year-old, and a 25-year-old. Too late to put them up for adoption? is it, or do I have to kind of live with it at this point?
We don't do infant, or we only do infant. So I'm going to refer you to
something else.
an adoption attorney.
You can keep the girls. I'll take Nick.
Right? Yeah. Nick's fun. Yeah. You like the boys. So over the years, in your many years that you've been involved, have you seen adoptions increase or decreased over like the past 20 years?
It's kind of, I've only been there since 2016, and I was at that point mostly involved in the pregnancy center side of things. So when I became executive director, I had to fast course myself into learning more about adoption. There were years, I know when Martha was there, that there was like 13 placements in a year, and I think that was a high. Well, years ago when it first started, we did international adoption, so numbers were huge. But now just doing domestic, I think 13 was probably or 17 maybe, was one of the highest years, number of placements. We did 8 last year, but this year we've only done 4.
Right.
And but from what I'm hearing across the country is adoption is down, and I'm not sure if it's partially due to the availability of the abortion pill.
Right.
I see,
And then just, I don't know. We don't really know. But
And that was kind of dovetails with my other question, too. I didn't realize that you were all domestic adoption because, a lot of times my wife and I will say, why are people adopting? And nothing, there's nothing against adopting people from China or wherever, but why do we go abroad first instead of taking care of, the United States
first?
Long
line, Tom.
Is that it?
Yeah. We do have a lot of waiting families. Yeah, I don't really know the answer to that. I really don't.
There's
it's
a higher
complicated
demand.
And
More people want to adopt than children are available for adoption. That's
especially infants.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's a great thing that you do, though, the whole adoption thing. And that was my other question. So is adoption cost prohibitive for some people?
Sure, but I think that our adoption fees are relatively low compared to what adoption agencies across the country are. We find a lot of churches will come alongside families and help support them in that.
Nice. Awesome. Good. Geez, I didn't realize how fast the time went. I was ready for more conversation, but thank you so much, Kathy. Kathy German right there. She's the executive director of New Hope Family Services. Go check them out online. Your website's very good, nice and organized, so people should see that. NewHopeFamilyServices.com. You have a great rest of the day.
Thanks, you too. Thanks for having me.
Jim McCarthy's up next. He's the president of Northland Communications right here on The Local Show, and that's 570 WSYR and 106.9 FM.
Welcome back to The Local Show, a service of Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts and Geddes Federal Savings and Loan. The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business right here in Central New York. The Local Show, locally produced by Zoe Advertising. Now, here are your hosts, Tom and Steve.
You're back on it again. It's The Local Show. Thank you for joining us on this weekend that is, a holiday weekend, and we're getting ready to, only weeks away from gathering the families again and having a Christmas holiday, right?
I was just thinking about when we were starting the show, almost 4 years ago.
Yeah,
it's like, what are we going to call it? We want to do this local show thing. We want it to be about local business. We want to do this local thing. And we're like, and I remember you going, well, just call it The Local Show. That's what you keep calling it.
You keep saying it, The Local Show.
And it became like, a fly, you call a fly, it flies around, it's a fly. It became that, right? But I think
it makes sense.
I think it makes sense. I don't think people are wondering what's going on. It's The Local Show.
And it's very obvious. So we champion local business, like one of our big sponsors, Safe Harbor Wills and Trusts, so much so that they want to have their Christmas party here, which is interesting.
How about that for their care customers?
Yeah, right.
Isn't that interesting? So they're like, can we come over to your place? Like, Sure, we got a big room.
As long as they bring the roast beef and
I think they're
clams on
going
the half
to.
shell.
And for some reason, Tom, they want you and I here. I'm not sure what that is all about. But,
I know.
Mostly me. But that's
You're
okay.
right. Well, I'd rather that.
Poor Tom. Tom's the introvert with a microphone. How is that possible?
I don't know. Most people are. Look at what's her name, Barbara Streisand.
Yeah.
She was a famous person in movies and everything, and singing, and she's got terrible anxiety, social anxiety.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I get nervous when I hear her talk about politics, but that's another topic.
Yes, that's
she really drives my anxiety up.
And I don't have any anxiety, any social anxiety. I just don't want to be, trotted out. So to speak,
I get it. So Safe Harbor, if you haven't made a will or put your house in a trust, by golly, you're not getting any younger.
No.
So talk to those folks. They know what they're doing. You don't want to risk something like that to the person that did your traffic ticket. That's goofy.
Look around your table during these holidays and say, do I want the state to take everything, or do I want to leave it to the kids?
Or long-term care, which is
even worse.
But safeharborwillsandtrust.com, Tom.
There you go. It's our pleasure to talk to a local champion right here. His name is Jim McCarthy, and he's the president of Northland Communications, northland.net. Northland.net if you want to look him up on the internet. How are you, Jim?
Great, and thanks for having me back.
And thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your background so people know how you got into the business.
Well, Northland Communications is a family business, so it's been part of my family for going all the way back to into the 1920s. The business itself was founded in 1905, and my grandfather started working there right around 1920 and acquired the company in 1926.
So it was what, a phone company?
Yes.
A telegraph company. What year was this?
What was it? Was it telegraph or phone?
It was phone. Party lines, the street would be served by one line, so you'd pick up and see if your neighbors were on.
Really? That's the way that worked, huh?
Oh, yeah. Back then, yeah.
Tom, you never were part of a party line?
No, I'm not that old,
when
Steve.
When I was a kid in Clay, you'd pick it up and the neighbors would be on. You're like, okay. And we had different phone numbers and it didn't last long, but I remember oh, hang on, someone's on the phone.
Yep.
Where did you grow up? In a tent?
It was in Clay, right by our friends at Chick-fil-A.
Was it a commune?
It was right by our friends in Chick-fil-A, but we didn't even have a house number. We were RD number 3, Rural Driver number 3, Clay, because Sister didn't even have a zip code.
Good golly.
The early days of social media, I guess.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
So give me some reference here. Thomas Edison and Ben Franklin.
Tom Soccocio.
What was going on during that time when your grandfather was starting this? Like, where was electronics?
I think Thomas Edison was somewhere around 1880 or somewhere there.
Okay,
AT&T, I think, was founded in 1888 or something like that. So
I gotcha.
Throughout the country, there's about 1,000 independent telephone companies still in existence today. They just filled in the gaps where back then AT&T the only didn't provide service. They could only get to so many places, and obviously the rural areas weren't the first places they went to. So throughout the country, local community members tried to fill the gap.
When your grandfather started it, like Steve referenced there, were there still telegraphs around? I mean, was telegraphing a thing?
Sure, that was never anything we did.
Oh, you didn't do that?
No, it was just pure telephone service. Party lines, as we said. And
right.
It's evolved into what it is today.
Yeah, and what is it today?
That's
the next question.
The founding company is still there, Oneida County Rural Telephone, just north of Utica. Holland Patton, Stittville, Floyd, the surrounding communities is where we serve. It's small, about 1,200 access lines, telephone subscribers. We have about 1,700 fiber to the home customers, gigabit type services, where it's direct fiber connection right from our central office to the home. And so we're proud of that. That's really the future. And the Northland Company started in 1982 with the breakup of the Bell companies, allowed competitive, at that time, long distance service. So we started off in Utica, and then it's grown to be a full suite of business communication services, from your long distance service to your local service, private data network services, internet services. We sell support premise-based phone systems, and our latest initiative now is our cloud-based phone service.
So we use your services here for the things that are going on. So if you hear an internet problem, call Northland. No.
Hopefully it's not a problem.
Hopefully it's not a problem. So a lot of businesses.
Yes.
So how are the demands of businesses different than the demands of the consumer?
It varies. It's changing now where the internet is really driving everything. So for a business, if the phone or the internet down, it's critical. Residents, 90% of them, if they even have a voice line anymore, are reliant on their cell phone. And so, in the hours of operation are certainly, with the internet, it's 24/7.
Right.
Where before, with the majority of our traffic being business traffic, the network could be lightly used from, say 8 p.m. to maybe 6 a.m.
Right.
But now it's just consistent bandwidth, 24/7, and things are going on through the night, business backups and all sorts of type of things.
And Tom's son is gaming, so you see the bandwidth go way down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, gaming's a big impact on the network, and so so the residential users could have demands almost as great as
I work at all hours, and I'll tell you what, it's funny. No matter how you slice it, you get very annoyed when your internet's not working. So it'll be midnight or 1 a.m, and I said, "Why is this so slow? What's going on?" Do you look actively for consumers? Households, residential. That's what I meant.
So we're monitoring all of our network 24/7. You're not necessarily monitoring individual usage levels and those type of things, but any kind of anomalies where there could be alarms. Something a piece of equipment or a part of the network is an alarm status.
What are you trying to get more customers, more residential customers or more business customers? Where's your sweet spot?
Our growth is business customers.
Okay.
And that's what's going to grow it. And that's where our opportunity is. And it's really based off our fiber optic network.
So why you versus the other options, the cable companies and the Verizons? And so what's so stinking special about you that has an opportunity for you to do business? Because it seems like they almost kind of have everything, and then there's you.
Yep. And, we view ourselves as a niche player. We're not trying to be everything to everyone. But we've been having a lot of conversations internally about that a lot. What's unique about Northland?
Right.
Because at the end of the day, all of our competitors have fiber. All of the features and functionality that we provide, for the most part, all of our competitors have the exact same thing. And so what it comes down to is, what we think makes us different or unique is that we're local, our longevity, and the service levels that we provide. But one area that we're trying to do a better job is articulating why that matters. The fact that we're 117 years old, it's a great story for my family. But if we don't do a great job articulating it, it really doesn't quantify.
We know someone that can help you with that.
Yeah, okay.
I was just going to say, we do that.
But as a result of being here for 117 years, we joked about party lines.
Yeah.
But our business has been around through party lines, to single lines, to dial-up internet, to gigabit type internets, all the way up to dark fiber, and from TDM to VoIP, circuit-based switches, to digital switches, to soft switches. And so from monopoly markets, Oneida County Rural Telephone was a monopoly. If you wanted phone service, you called us and we'd tell you when we'd come out there.
Big changes all the time.
That's not the case anymore. But that knowledge and experience from the past allows us to understand where we're going in the future.
Well, that's great. That's Jim McCarthy right there. We could talk to you for a long time, so please do come back. Jim McCarthy, president of Northland Communications. Thank you, and you have a great rest of the day, okay?
Well, thanks for having me.
You got it. That's going to wrap up the local show, Steve. On behalf of the local show and Tom and Steve, God bless you and your families. Get some physical activity today and every day. Eat well and stay focused on healthy living. The local show is heard Saturday mornings from 11 to 1, and then again on Sunday morning from 7 to 9. Listen together with a friend. Get down to business. Keep doing business locally. Tell your friends about the local show right here on 570 WSYR 106.9 FM, streaming everywhere on the iHeartRadio app and on YouTube.